what, guys?
He's an entertainer.
You know what?
You missed this.
3 of 5 people at this table, I know how you're voting, right? I know Charlie likes Trump, I know you like Trump, and I know you like Trump. But guess what? You guys can't do it alone. You need other people.
Liberal Fox News commentator Jessica Tarlov was very fed up and pulled no punches when she shredded Donald Trump's disastrous RNC speech and then her 4 MAGA co-hosts to their faces for their cultish support of him. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have several clips to talk about in this video. As you know, Jessica Tarlov, our very favorite person at the Fox Propaganda Network, the person who has the toughest job in mainstream media because she's a liberal commentator, she is an excellent debater, and she's in the lion's den. She's always outnumbered by unadulterated, unambiguous MAGA supporters. She's being heckled. She's outnumbered 4-1. She's surrounded by hostile viewers, people watching, and she does an incredible job. She's back from maternity leave. She was there commentating on the Republican National Convention, and she is fired up, and I am here for it. So this panel on The Five, which is one of, if not the most popular shows on the Fox Propaganda Network, they are covering Donald Trump's frankly disastrous and dishonest speech at the Republican National Convention. And Tarlov pulls no punches with fact checks and calling Trump out for his divisive rhetoric. So we're going to play these clips and unpack them together.
I don't understand why pundits like Van Jones, like Scott Jennings, for instance, are not sick of being embarrassed by saying that Donald Trump has changed. Is this the night that he becomes presidential? There were no actual olive branches when you look at the policies that he was talking about. He was talking to that room and that room only. He was not talking to Nikki Haley's voters. He was not talking to left-leaning independents. These are some of the things that he did that are just standard Donald Trump rally going. Crazy Nancy Pelosi, name checking Joe Biden. He had said, I am not going to talk about the president. I'm not going to use his name. Talking relentlessly about the migrant invasion and what the migrants are doing to the country.
Well, that's true.
More election.
That's true.
Okay. More election denying. They cheated. We'll never let that happen again. I'm a victim. He had, even in the text, Eileen Cannon was a call out, which is not particularly unifying, saying she did the right thing by tossing the Mar-a-Lago case, which conservatives, even like Jonathan Turley, say is the most serious one. Praising people like Viktor Orban, saying that Kim Jong-un misses him. The Taliban calls him. No, you don't miss it. Guess what, guys?
He's an entertainer.
You know what?
You missed this.
3 of 5 people at this table, I know how you're voting, right? I know Charlie likes Trump, I know you like Trump, and I know you like Trump. But guess what? You guys can't do it alone. You need other people. And I don't.
Love this energy. She is rightly fed up, and I understand that they're treating it like a joke because this is what they do. They constantly mock and heckle because they can't meet her on the facts, or they get angry when she calls them out for the truth. But she's right on so much, even that minute and 20 seconds. Let's think about this. Let's go in reverse order. She is right. Trump's coalition has never represented a majority or even a plurality of voters in this country. He has never won the popular vote against any Democratic challenger. He lost the popular vote to Secretary Clinton in 2016. He lost the popular vote to President Biden in 2020. He has presided over one electoral defeat after another since his electoral college victory in 2016. Donald Trump never cracked 50% approval rating during his presidency. He has always been disliked. He has always been unpopular. The anti-Trump coalition is objectively and has always been bigger than Donald Trump's coalition. So her point is, if you want to win, then you actually do have to appeal to other people or hope like hell that people who don't like Trump don't show up. So her point is, you may like him, you may love the divisive rhetoric, you may love the hyperpartisanship. You can't win on even terrain with that. Democrats can win with hyperpartisanship because they outnumber you, but you all cannot win. I love the fact that she brought the receipts. I love the fact that she talked about things that we discussed in a previous video about this. The appeals to Viktor Orban and Kim Jong-un, that these foreign autocrats and illiberal, authoritarians love Donald Trump and seek to have him return to power. And again, I think it's also worth noting, again, in the very few times he even gestured towards policy, he never reached across the aisle. Folks, why is it that when President Biden or Democratic presidents are being interviewed by right-wing media or mainstream media, they are always asked, what are you going to do to appeal to Republicans, to rural red state conservative voters? Again, I think it's a fair question because presidents should try to govern for everybody. They should try to expand their umbrella of support as much as possible. But why is that burden always imposed on Democrats and never Republicans? Because again, Democrats, let me put it to you like this. If the two sides of the two parties, the pro-Trump coalition, the anti-Trump coalition, if they turn up in maximum numbers, Trump loses, right? So he has more of an incentive. There is more rational basis to demand that he try to appeal to independents and left-leaning independents and disaffected Democrats. What are you going to do for them? What liberal policies are you going to invoke for them? What are you going to do to appeal to Democrats and left-leaning independents? And he has no answer for this because the expectation is never there. Fox News will never ask him that. Newsmax will never ask him that. It's never actually crossed their minds to try to appeal to the opposition or people who aren't in the cult. And I love that she's calling them out for that. And as well as just debunking the notion that Trump in any way behaved presidentially. She called out Van Jones, CNN reporter, Scott Jennings, a Republican CNN reporter. Van Jones had been teeing this up. Oh, I think, Trump might actually try to be a unifier. He said during the convention that he's getting Obama 2008 vibes. Very strange stuff. Scott Jennings, who is a Republican in the employ of CNN because he's their Republican analyst, he said before Trump's speech, hey, I've read some of the text of Trump's speech. You all better be prepared. He's going to blow the doors off. He's going to step up and meet the moment. And then, of course, he failed, not only in terms of his energy level. That was Jeb Bush, low energy style energy from Trump of all people, but he never met the moment. He was divisive. He insulted his political opponents. He demanded preferential treatment in the justice system. Love the fact that Jessica Tarlov is calling this out. Got a couple more clips to play on that score.
And what is the obsession with Hannibal Lecter? Can someone explain to me? It's like Reagan and it's not funny. It's so weird. He was a sociopath that ate people's faces.
Everybody knows.
And again, they're trying to laugh it off. Listen, it's so interesting to me. Now, what she's talking about, just to put this in perspective, Donald Trump has routinely made these non sequiturs and references to the fictional serial killer and cannibal Hannibal Lecter. Okay. One of the most famous movie villains and fictional villains of all time. And he did it again at his, disastrous RNC speech. So I want to play that clip and then again, we'll unpack it.
They're coming from prisons. They're coming from jails. They're coming from mental institutions and insane asylums. The press is always on me because I say this. Has anyone seen Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He'd love to have you for dinner.
So listen, I'm a pop culture geek. I love Silence of the Lambs, one of the best movies, I would say, in cinema history. Stellar performance by Jodie Foster and, of course, Anthony Hopkins. And then, of course, the adaptations of the Lecter series, like the most recent Hannibal TV show with Mads Mikkelsen. Listen, I love TV. I love movies. I love a good villain. Villains are cool in movies. But why the hell, during a political stump speech, would you just go out of your way to randomly reference, again, as Jessica Tarlov points out, the sociopathic serial killing cannibal? Again, it just seems like that would not be the time nor the place. Very strange stuff. And she's pointing out that these are just other aspects of Donald Trump's weirdness, which probably is off-putting to people not already in the cult, like her MAGA co-hosts. Another clip.
We've got a lot.
But what did he say about the border that wasn't true?
Right, exactly.
People don't like the classification of it as an invasion. They don't like to hear
Well, they don't like the truth.
That's too bad.
Again, you guys are already sold on the package. You know
Okay.
who isn't? White suburban women who are saying, guess what? I care about my reproductive rights, and I don't want to
Okay.
demean.
He didn't.
Oh,
We're talking migrant invasion.
talking about that.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Again, I love this. This is so it's so interesting to have such a rare voice of sanity on Fox because they're in this hermetically sealed echo chamber. They genuinely believe that they represent the majority of the country, the majority of voters, and that their policies and ideas are popular. It's simply not the case. The Republican Party has not won the popular vote for the presidency in 30 years, except for 2004 with President Bush's reelection. And that was in the aftermath of the patriotic fervor of 9/11. The war on terror was at its height. The notion was, hey, we got to rally around a Republican president during this time of terror. That's it. Other than that, it's been one popular L after another. And that is despite all the enormous institutional advantages that Republicans enjoy. Generally speaking, Democrats are more popular and Democratic policies are more popular. But these people believe, or at least cynically want their viewers to believe for their paycheck, that they don't have to reach across the aisle, that they don't have to moderate their rhetoric, that they don't have to moderate their policies, that they don't have to engage in any sort of bridge building. Bridge building and consensus building, that's something for Democrats. That's the left. The left has to come to us. Democrats have to come to us. We get to stand exactly where we are and do whatever we want whenever we want and just hope that it turns out that way. The confidence, despite the, I mean, listen, it's possible, again, that not only will Donald Trump win the election in November, he may win the popular vote. It's possible, but historically speaking, very unlikely. So what the hell is the source of this unearned confidence? Very strange stuff. One last clip from Jessica Tarlov.
Sandra,
It is the number one issue.
9,000 extra words. You don't think
So what? They listened.
No, they didn't. They fell asleep and people were leaving. I was on the floor.
Oh my God.
She was right about that. Listen, that was a painfully long speech by Donald Trump, the longest in convention history. And yes, people, I mean, she was there on the floor. She saw in the crowd that people, and others had reported this as well, that people were looking at their phones, that people were starting to twiddle their thumbs. And again, these are a sample of Donald Trump's most fervent supporters, and even their attention spans were taxed by his meandering, incoherent speech, full of divisive political attacks. And by the way, again, low energy in the delivery. Jeb Bush tears of low energy. So listen, I love the fact that Jessica Tarlov is back from maternity leave. I wish she had been there from the beginning. We need that voice, this competent, skilled debater who brings the receipts, who pushes back on this right-wing echo chamber, and who will expose Fox News viewers to facts that they might not otherwise hear. Great stuff from Jessica Tarlov. Let me know what you think in the comments.